So here's a nice view over Flaggy Shore, it's called locally here.
And what's this little tower?
Yeah, this is a good view.
This old tower, you'll see a lot of these up along the coastline. They're like a watchtower for fear of invasion many years ago.
Oh.
Now this one has been bought by an American couple and they use it as a holiday home.
Oh.
As a which?
As a holiday home.
Oh, holiday.
But it's good to see because they keep it in good repair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Imagine.
see that. See that
Now you
again.
see this shore here, back in 1981, there was a music festival that used to take place here and this Burren was on, the matchmaking festival.
Oh, yes.
So this music festival used to happen in line with the matchmaking festival and we had a very good September this year back in 1981 and a lot of people came out here from Listonburn out to Flaggy Shore here to swim. But that particular day there was very, very strong and dangerous underwater currents and it dragged a lot of people underneath. And I think it was 9 people got dragged out that day.
Wow.
One person got pulled on board the ferry came in and pulled him on board and he was alive and the other 8 people drowned.
Oh my God.
Out of that 8 people that drowned there was 3 brothers in the one family from Limerick.
Yeah.
And with them was their best friend and neighbour of theirs and only son. And his parents didn't even know he was at the festival. So they called it the Doolin tragedies. But that happened in this area here in 1981.
Do they still have the festival?
They sort of cancelled the festival after that, and 2 years ago they tried to revamp the festival to bring it back, and the local people objected, saying as a mark of respect to these people, the families, that they didn't want it. So it was knocked ahead and they didn't go ahead with it.
That's too bad.
They make homemade chocolate and homemade fudge. If you want me to stop and to get something going into the Burren, once we get into the Burren you'll be there. It'll take us roughly about an hour by the time we get stopped and going before we enter Ballybohans.
Okay.
So I don't think it's open actually. I'm just looking down here now, the blue over.
Yeah,
Very tasty.
I know, we got some last time. I think we won't go, Pete. I think we're good. Unless, Jimmy, you want to stop for chocolate?
Maybe on the way back though, right?
I don't know if we come back this way.
We won't be coming back
We
this
won't
way.
come back this way.
You see just down here, this is where the potatoes are grown.
On the shore
Oh,
there.
right. Yeah, I remember that.
This is the garden.
Yeah.
Oh, that little garden.
Yeah. So I'll just bring you out and show you the where you get the ferry and that, and then we'll
Oh,
get
right.
in.
Yeah.
That's a cute little place.
This is Fisher Street, very nice area,
Yeah, it is.
Really pretty, eh?
nice and relaxed.
That's very cute. It's weird. Oh, I see the chocolate place.
The rivers come down here, and on a rough day when the wind blows, it actually blows the river back up onto the mainland. You see the small little rivers coming down here? See it over here?
Oh, yeah.
You see that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Huh.
This
It's like, that must be like, wow. There's a good view of some surf coming in there.
So this is where the boats go.
And how long does it take to get to the island? Like an hour or something?
Inisheer is the nicest island to go to, and it takes about 30-35 minutes.
Oh, okay.
What's the island name?
Inisheer.
Like, what's on the islands that are?
It's like, I suppose, it's like, how would I explain it? Imagine a time where you hadn't got a mobile phone.
Right.
That you could just go out and enjoy life, that you're not worried about a phone or a computer or work. That it's like, just, I suppose you can jump on a horse and cart and take you a trip around the island and tell you the history of the island, what they used to do years ago, the way to survive. It's nice, it's really, really nice. Like, if you get the weather, if it's rough, I wouldn't recommend doing it. So,
These guys.
these guys probably are, these could be mixture now, they could be Navy cadets in just training in the Burren, they could be just, they all seem to have the same blue
They all have the
overalls
same, but we
on.
saw, we passed some other bunches of them.
Yeah. So now we're just beginning to leave Doolin now,
Yeah.
and we're heading into the Burren.
Okay.
One is north of the area,
Okay.
and with the west of Ireland.
Yeah.
Did you have any luck, Patricia, with your family name when they checked it out?
No, well, no. I mean, we're getting some new information. We think we actually came over before the potato famine, but we haven't gotten anything concrete at this end yet. But we're still. We'll eventually get there. We'll eventually figure it out.
We were just talking about that the wells today. It's such complex, and even
Yes.
the way a name is spelled, or a space between a letter, or whether it's a small, sometimes like it could be MC or MAC,
Yes.
and all these things have a big effect. And even though it could be the same family, it could be spelled different.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, because the immigration
That's
officer
always
can't spell.
You need to find out that.
But we think he was sent from they might have been sent from the Wyndham Estates, right?
Yeah, the Wyndham Estates.
Wyndham
There's the
Estates.
guy there.
George Wyndham.
That's
He said
right.
it's a good chance.
But what an awful lot of people are actually doing here now is they're changing their name to Irish. So they're still keeping the same name, but they're doing it in the Gaelic.
Right, right.
So, for example, say my sister-in-law is Breed White,
Right.
her own name, but it's Breed Fifa if she was to do it in
Yeah,
Irish.
Irish.
So that changes the scenario. Looking down the road, you can imagine what sort of a time
Oh
they're
my
going to have
goodness. Yeah.
if anyone is chasing back history.
Yeah. No.
Oh yes, we make it
Need a
really.
Gaelic detective.
Oh yeah.
Now this is
You
some
said
of
the Burren was limestone?
Burren is all limestone. They reckon that if you catch and eat fish from here, it will have a unique taste, and it's because there's calcium in the water coming off the limestone, and it has that flavour gone through the fish. The animals, anything that comes off the Burren is good.
Neat.
You know, it's funny the way the limestone goes, because I suppose there's only two places in Ireland that it happened, like the glaciers years ago came and they tore the earth away, and what was left underneath was sheer rock. Here will be one of them in the Burren, and the Giant's Causeway will be another fine example. And
Oh
What's
yeah.
that tower called again, Pete?
Ballalacan. Ballalacan Castle. They have a restaurant there. They built a new piece at the back with the owners, and they have a restaurant there which is quite nice.
That must be some spectacular view.
It'll be a 4-star restaurant.
Oh, wow.
You'd be amazed at the amount of people that set up small little enterprises in the likes of here, the Burren, like that. It's between goat's cheese, sheep's cheese, winemaking, horse riding, trekking, walking, flowers, you name it, perfumery. Everything has been thought of and actually set up here, you know. They make a lot of films up here every year. We do a lot of work for film boards when they come in here. They'll hire buses and we'll have to ferry them in and out for lunches and for onto sets and that. But they could be here normally about from about 6 weeks at a time. They would spend in the Burren each year. Last time they came, it was, I can't think of the film, but they had all this field and this shed and all hired out. Everything here was the main area. I think we picked an okay day anyway, folks.
Oh my
We
gosh.
did,
Shining out the way. I think we did the best way to view it because at least we have the fine weather here now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
It's picture
ideal,
perfect.
Ideal. Temperature's nice and everything.
The one down thing is there's a small little centre in Kilfenora that explains a brief history of the Burren, and we like to do that if we're doing it the other way, but just with the weather it doesn't allow you to do that all the time.
The thing is, the weather changes so quickly here. It can be like this in an hour, it could be pouring rain. You never know.
With the wind here it changes so fast. Now with the cattle here, if you have cattle and they're bred here and reared into this land, you will never be able to take them off it. If they come down to land near us, they get this thing called red water,
Yeah.
and it will kill them.
Oh my God.
They have to stay on this type of ground.
Really?
And we cannot sell cattle up here because if you bring our cattle up here, they won't be used of the rocks. Now you see the vast layers of rock that's been left behind.
This is the Burren.
Oh, look at these rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be walking on this in the rain.
No. Oh yeah, it's gets slippery.
If you were walking on this now as a walker, normally they would have the little spike for their walking stick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here you can't use that, you have to use the hazel that comes from the land. It's the only thing that will get the grip on the rock.
Uh-huh.
But once they get wet, it can be quite slippery and quite dangerous.
Yeah.
But some of the best trekking in Europe is up in the Burren. There's a road that goes from the back of this right over the top of the mountain and nearly into Ballyvaughan. It's absolutely spectacular. The Green Road. Here's some teams training here at the moment.
Climbing.
Oh, there is. Yeah.
And these guys have all these uniforms on, if you notice too, so I say they're quite possibly from some, they could be Navy or something like that.
Oh, wow.
They often drop teams from the Army and Navy out here and let them make their own way back to a certain point.
Oh my goodness. Good luck.
Oh, boy.
I did see a helicopter earlier today.
Yeah, I did too.
So now there's a nice little gulp down here if you want to go down.
Yeah.
Just be careful with the footing. When it's dry today, you should have no difficulty. I just put away from these buses. You don't want to be tied up in this crowd.
Yeah.
But you get some nice pictures down there, and there's a lighthouse further up we might stop in.